Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to talk about the Warfighter system by DVG Games. Now, the Warfighter system is a tactical card system to simulate different eras of time and fantasy. This system here works off of a squad-based scenarios, and you will pick your scenarios and your squad. So you'll actually, which is one of the best parts of this game, is picking out your squad and equipping it. So, and you'll pick out your scenario and set it up. And there's a lot of cards in each of these series that you get. And each series comes with its own board, its own set of dice. And the board is really nice for laying out your cards. And it has its own rule book. Now, the rule book here is actually a living rule book. So for every version you move on up, it actually includes the rules for all the previous ones. So in this one here, the World War II tactical one, it has an 82-page rule book. And this one is a 52-page rule book. So one of my cons of the game is the size of the rule book is crazy. And 90% of this doesn't matter. It's for all, this one right here, as you can see, it's for all four of these different ones. The core system is explained within the first 8 pages. So the majority of what you want to know is in there, and there's lots of pictures and stuff, so it's not all that much that you have to learn. It's just the rule book is scary. It's also not laid out in the best manner possible, but there's a lot of rules videos on the Warfighter system that you could watch instead. But just know that the rule book is not the greatest, and you don't need to have, it's not as intimidating as you might think. So that's the first thing on there. What I do like about this game and system is that it actually is really nice and has a nice feel for each of the different types that you can get. Now, displayed here I have the World War II one and the modern tactical one. There's also at least 3 others, so I believe there's at least 5. So there's a lot of support for this system, and the core idea rules are the same between them. You're basically going to pick your squad, pick your objective, and try to meet it. And the neat thing about the game too is as you go along and you go to different locations, you can actually pick which locations you go to, sort of like reconnaissance. So there's a lot of strategic decision in which locations you go to complete your objective. There's a ton of strategic decisions you make when you pick your squad for the game. Some of the things that people might not like is the game is very random. I mean, these are decks of cards. You're going to shuffle them and draw from them. So the enemies are random, the locations are random. So there's a bit randomness to dice, and of course dice are random. So I'm okay with this. I think this system is great, that you have a ton of cards in each of the sets, so you have a ton of replayability. There's lots of objectives, there's lots of equipment, there's lots of, you can get skill cards, you can do different things with your soldiers and weapons and combinations, and there's a lot to think about, and each of them have a slight flair to them, so they have their own little thing that they add that's beyond the base rules, which is really nice. So overall, if you're looking for a war combat system that doesn't take very long to play, you're not going to be sitting down for a typical like 4 to 5 hours playing a war game. This is gonna takes under an hour most of the time. Depends on what you pick for your scenario and what happens, but in general it's going to play in a reasonable amount of time. I had a lot of fun, and if you like it, like I said, there's a ton of support, which is a great benefit. I like when the system comes out and there's actually a lot more that you can get along with it instead of having to wait or they just drop it. So that is my quick review of Warfighter. Again, if you're looking for a combat tactical game that doesn't take very long and you're okay with the randomness that this has, and most all war games include some form of randomness, so that's why it's okay for me. But just to be aware that there is a good chunk of randomness. It does really matter sometimes when you go to locations and you get a ton of really big, hard to beat bad guys, or you get wimpy ones, or you get a lot of bad guys. So there's a lot of things that can happen in the game that is random, and you could argue that it sort of emulates a fog of war style of idea. But either way, that is my thoughts on Warfighter system. Thank you for watching.